So, hello, hello. Yeah, hi everyone, beta. Yeah, good evening, good evening. How are you? Are you all fine? Yeah, done, done, done.
So,
Okay, so I guess we are meeting for the second time, no? Or is it the first time?
the second time.
Yeah, second time. I can also memorize it. Okay, done. So, what about the experience from the last class? Are you satisfied, or you want me to make some changes in this session? Maybe be more interactive. Maybe call out the names of the people who are not interacting. What do you want? Maybe do you want any changes, or it's all okay? Okay, beta. So, okay, if you do not want any changes, we'll be continuing in the same fashion. But yeah, I want all of you to be little more interactive. I guess you all are permanently allotted to me. That's why I am getting regularly your sessions from the last session to this session also. So we need to make a little more stronger interaction bonding, isn't it? As we need to be together for the whole session. So it would be fine. You also are very fine. You are interactive. I can remember your names, and this is something very very special to me. If I can remember the name of a student of a particular batch in the very first day, it means that you were interacting well. That's why I asked the question that whether this is first or the second class, as I can see the names. Okay, so let me again introduce myself. This is Atul Kumar, and I'm your tutor for the day. Maybe if God wishes, I'll be the tutor for the whole session. The batches are not finally yet allotted to us, but yeah, hope so. Now, before beginning, as you all know, I need to introduce you to this platform also. You'll be having 4 5 options. You'll be having this audio and video option. You know that you need to keep yourself muted, and if possible turn on your videos. Then you have this chat box. In this you can ask your doubt, answer my questions, or anything, any query of that kind. Then you have that hand bridge option, so in case you feel like you need to ask something in your audio only, you can use that hand raise option. I'll be taking up a comfortable pause and then take up your questions. Then you also have this troubleshoot option. So in case any technical issues there at your end, you can always go to that troubleshoot option and get it sorted. Now, as I was a fan of the attendance part of this batch. My God, brilliant! Like Suhani, Pavni, then Ali, all have got 100%. Even the I can see some absentees, but no one is having more than 5 days absence out of 22 days. A very, very, very fine thing, beta. So I'm fan of the regularity of you all. Just keep it up, okay? Then talking about my language, I can speak both English as well as Hindi, but yeah, I can see this is English batch, so I'll be continuing in English only. Now, before beginning up with the session, I have something exciting to announce. You might be knowing this about Masterclass Excel. Okay, I am also pasting the link of that in the chat box. So, Masterclass Excel. This is a new project that is being launched by our side, and in this session, industry experts, the experts of their domain, would be addressing you about some success tips, about the strategies that you need to make, and whatever we feel, it's our anticipation, and what they say is their experience. There is a very large difference in this anticipation and experience. We all are anticipating, okay, 10th would be like this, 10th would be like this, but what I am saying is my experience. I have been from my 10th part. I know how it feels when you are into this 10th, when you are in between the mid of the session, when you are at the end of session, when you're facing the board, the first, I mean, the severing of hands while getting our admit cards. We also have experienced. So this is our experience, and it would be helping you all in your journey. Okay, now getting to the fourth session of our class. So, but I guess it's time for us to begin. But yeah, first we'll recap and then we'll be continuing. So, talking about the digestion in mouth and stomach part, we discussed like, okay, in mouth there is the role of majorly three organs: teeth, tongue, and saliva. Teeth in mechanical digestion part, and then there was saliva and tongue. The tongue helps in mixing of food with saliva, and then swallowing of food. Saliva has salivary amylase that breaks down that carbohydrate into simple sugar like glucose. Then salivary amylase or ptyalin, as I said, starch, a complex carbohydrate, is being converted into simple sugar like glucose. Then there is bolus. So if you can remember, we have discussed like food when mixed with salivary gland. The secretions of salivary gland, that is the saliva, is called bolus. It is that bolus that gets down to our stomach with the help of peristalsis through esophagus. Esophagus was also called food pipe. Okay. Now, talking about the digestion in stomach part, we discussed there are three types of gastric glands. Gastric. Why was this term gastric given? Can you remember? Anyone?
Because the scientific name of stomach is gastric.
Yeah, I can see two of you tried, but the voice was mixing. Okay, let me tell you. Gastric was due to the term of that stomach, which was called gaster biologically. Memorize it. Gaster. That is why gland in the stomach, gastric gland. Juices, digestive juices in the stomach, gastric juices. Okay. So gastric glands, three types. HCl, first gland releases this. Two function, kills the germ that reaches the stomach along with food, activates pepsine. Then there was mucus. Mucus protects the inner wall of the stomach. And then there is pepsine. Pepsine breaks down the protein into peptides, not into amino acid, not into the final product of digestion. It was into peptide only. Okay. Then there is something called chyme. Chyme is the food mixed with gastric juices. Okay, the food that is coming out of the stomach, leaving the stomach, is called chyme. Now there is one more question. Let's see who among you is solving this. You can use that chat box. The food goes down the esophagus by a very simple one, beta. Use that chat box. Okay.
Peristaltic movement, peristaltic movement.
Yeah, beta. Very good, very good. But yeah, it's Mansi who got the first correct answer. Very fine. Very wow. So many of you answering. Very fine. It's peristaltic movement. Okay. One more question. Wow, beta. You are making me emotional. So many of you are answering. This kind of response is little rare. At 10th level, what I can see, I'm taking almost 10, 12 batches of 10th and 9th. At this level, so huge response at the same time is something which is very rare. Keep it up, beta. Very fine. One more question coming up. The question is like, if HCl is so strong, why not it can break down? The act on the walls of the stomach. Again, we discussed it. Suhani answered. Very fine, Suhani, beta. What about others? Okay, okay. So many of you answering. Wow. Very fine. It's B. We discussed that there is mucus lining in the inner side of stomach in the last class, if you can remember. Like this. This is the stomach. On the inner side of it, there is a mucus lining. This mucus lining prevents the HCl over here to reach the stomach wall. And if the HCl cannot reach the stomach wall, it cannot damage it. That is why B is the correct answer. Yeah, beta. Very good. Now we are to this doubt board. So anything that you need to ask from the previous session until now. This was all about the recap part. So you can ask anything from the previous session as well. Anything? If not, just put the thumbs up. Yeah, done, 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 beta. So now let's get into today's session. Um, how many of you loved having milk at night? Maybe, I don't know, but maybe most of you would be having like that awkward faces. Like, okay, so milk, but still, milk is very fine, a very nutritious diet. Kamal, last class I took, and this recap part also. Okay, so maybe some of you have heard this, maybe from your grandparents, maybe from some of your friends, maybe like, okay, milk is something which I cannot tolerate. Whenever I take milk, I have a bad tummy. That's it. So why is it so? Yeah, very fine, but I also like having milk at night. Okay, so this is due to a special case known as lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance. What do you mean by this lactose intolerance? And you can memorize, like, it is almost in about 65% of adult human. Yeah, just make a note of this. I'm writing something. Lactose. Lactose is a sugar. Lactose is a sugar. Oh, let me write it again. It is a sugar which is found in milk. Okay, can anyone tell me the name of that bacteria that converts milk into curd? Anyone? Just unmute and say it.
Bacillus.
Lactobacillus.
Lactobacillus.
Fine.
Yes.
Lactobacillus.
So let me tell you one thing. This lactobacillus acts on this lactose sugar of the milk and convert it into lactic acid. Okay? Lactic acid. It is the acid due to which this curd tastes sour. Got it? Lactobacillus acts upon this lactose sugar in the milk and converts it into lactic acid, and this is what you call as curdling of milk. This is what you call as turning of that milk into curd. Got it? Lactose is the sugar which is found in milk. Now, lactose intolerance means people are there in this world who cannot digest this lactose sugar. If they cannot digest, means they are intolerable to this milk part, isn't it? So look at this. Normally, for lactose digestion, we have an enzyme called lactase. This lactase acts on the lactose and converts it into simple sugar. Lactase is the enzyme. Let me give you one trick. Whenever you see something as is along with some other word, keep it in mind, like this is an enzyme that can break on the, this parent word. Like if I say sucrose is the sugar, so the enzyme that would digest that sucrose is sugarase. Can you point this out? Sugarase. Sugar is the root word, and then the ase. Ase means that sugar is the enzyme that digests sugar. Sorry, sucrose. In the same way, DNase. You might have heard this name DNA. Anyone knows the full form of this DNA?
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yes, very fine. Yes.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yeah, very fine. So DNA, the enzyme that would digest this DNA is called DNase. Did you get it? The root word along with this ase means something that digests the root word. DNase digests the DNA. Protease digests the proteins. Got it? Lipase digests the fat. Lipid, actually, that lipid term, as I said in the previous session also, lipid is something like fat. So lactase digests the lactose. So in some adult people who are lactose intolerant, actually there is no lactase in their body. And if there is no lactase, they cannot digest that lactose. And if the lactose is not getting digested, it would be converting or forming acids and gases. And that is why we say that, okay, but it is this lactose sugar which is being converted into lactic acid. If there is no lactose, no lactic acid. No lactic acid means no curd. Got it? Yeah. Okay. So we got lactose digestion and lactose intolerant part. Maybe some of you can ask, sir, okay, this was something about the adult. You said that in some adult there is lactase which digests this lactose, and so they can digest milk. In some others, this lactose, this lactase is absent, so they are lactose intolerant. What about the child, infant? You might be knowing infant till 6 months of age is totally dependent on mother's milk, isn't it? So how they can digest milk? Actually, they have one another. Say Ali.
Yeah, I wanted to say that digestion in children is very good.
No, beta. Actually, there is one more enzyme in them that we call as renin. This renin enzyme has only role in digesting that milk. And something important is like this renin gets degenerated while we are growing up. The more we are getting elder, the more less secretion is of this renin takes place in our body. So till the time we become adult, this renin is totally absent. So we are only dependent on this lactase part to digest our lactose. And so if this lactose is absent, means that we are lactose intolerant. Sorry, if this lactase is absent, means that we are lactose intolerant. Got it? Got it, everyone? Say it better, say it faster so that I can move forward. Done? Okay, fine. Fine. Now let's move on to the next part. Move on to this small intestine part. So final digestion, almost about 90% of the digestion occurs in the small intestine. Okay. And before getting into depth about which enzymes and how they digest, let's first talk about how the food gets into the small intestine. So we have discussed about a special kind of a sphincter called uh, esophageal sphincter. The sphincter present at the junction of esophagus and stomach. In the same way, there is again a sphincter called pyloric sphincter, which is present there in between stomach and the duodenum part of small intestine. So it is the ring of smooth muscles. Smooth muscle means involuntary muscles that controls the movement of chyme from stomach to duodenum. Okay. Now, where does lactase? We'll be coming to that beta. We'll be coming to that, Ashwarya, step by step. Okay. Actually, this all digestion occurs in stomach and small intestine. Okay. Let it be for now only. Stomach and small intestine. Okay. Fine. Now, as we have this whole longer digestive tract, we have discussed in the last class also. We also have some accessory gland. So let me give one perfect analogy. Like you might have seen a surgeon being assisted by doctor and nurses in some movie operation theater scene, isn't it? When he's operating, he just put down his hand like this, and the person concerned is giving him the instrument which he actually requires without even saying, isn't it? He did not say that give me stethoscope, give me injection, give me scissors. Not like that. He just uh, gives the symbol in his hand, and the person concerned, the nurses, the junior doctors are putting that instrument on their hand. Isn't it? This happens in the same way when the food reaches the specified part of our stomach. Our digestive glands, involuntary, without any order, they just release the enzymes. Okay. Now let's get in detail to this chemical digestion part of a small intestine by calling our master tutor.
The pancreas, digestive organs. The liver produces the bile juice and stores it in the gallbladder. The gallbladder releases the bile juice, while the pancreas releases the pancreatic juice consisting of trypsin, amylase, and lipase. Now, why do we need all these juices here? The chyme coming from the stomach is acidic in nature, due to which the enzymes in the pancreatic juice would be rendered ineffective. Thus, the bile stored in the gallbladder turns the chyme into an alkaline substance suitable for the enzymes to function at this point. The bile also helps in emulsification of fats, which means the breakdown of bigger fat globules into smaller ones. At the same time, the enzymes of the pancreatic juice start their action. Trypsin digests any remaining proteins. Amylase digests any remaining carbohydrates, and lipase digests any remaining fats.
Yes, beta. So now let's revise that accessory digestive organs. So two glands are there which are releasing their secretions in the duodenum part. One is this liver, and the other one is this pancreas. Okay. So liver releases bile juice. Liver releases bile juice, and this bile juice is not getting directly released in the duodenum part. Rather, it releases the bile juice. That bile is first getting stored in the gallbladder, and then from this gallbladder, as and when required, this bile is released in the duodenum part. Okay. Then there is the role of this pancreatic juice also, but keep it in mind. I mean, you can make a note of it. Pancreatic juice contains three enzymes: trypsin, amylase, and lipase. Okay. uh, yeah, trypsin, amylase, and lipase. Now, they all have their specific roles. First, let's discuss about this bile part. So bile is basic in nature. You have studied like this. In stomach there is HCl that makes the medium acidic. So when food gets into this duodenum part, it is needed to be converted into basic. Why so? Basic because, as we discussed in the stomach part, like pepsin only gets activated in the acidic medium, isn't it? As it was released in propepsin form. Can you memorize it or not? Can you memorize it? Okay. So if not, please give it a revision. Yeah. Done. Fine. Yeah, try to revise better. If each class, before each of my class, when you are having biology, or better to say, like before every class, you should revise the contents of the previous session. Okay, let me tell you one inside thing. This is something which is not told to you, but we have divided the batches in three parts. First, the most brilliant ones. Second, the average ones. And third, who are not that good in study, we need to encourage them. Let me tell you, you all are a part of batch which has got the highest potential. Highest increment can be seen in you. So you need to prove us right. It's your moral duty. I mean, okay, I am taking, as I said, 15-20 batches, isn't it? So maybe not you, but some other people, some other students of other batches may be giving us results. So we'll be showing in our advertisement like, okay, so many students have got result from our session, our Byju's classes. So we would be in profit. We are working hard and we are getting results. But what about you? You are also paying. I mean, your parents are also paying. You are also trying your best. So if others are giving us result, why not you? As you will give result not only for you, for you, for your parents, for your family, for us. Try to be that. Let me tell you one more thing. It's about my 10th. I did my 10th in 2015. Not that elder from you, isn't it? Only 5-6 years. Maybe the in ages of your sibling. Maybe some of your siblings are even elder than me. Maybe cousins and all. So I'm not that elder. I did my 12th, 10th and 2015. At our time we had CGPA system. One 8 CGPA, 8.2, 8.6, 9, 9.2, 9.46, 9.8, and 10, like this. So I was like, okay, I was a brilliant student at my time. Not that brilliant, let me be honest. But yeah, I was something called, I was the monitor of my class. That's it. That says it all. That, okay, I was not that brilliant, but still I was a very good student at my time. So after my boards, when the result came in, I was in the sister organization of this Byju's. Actually, I did my 12th from Akash. You know that Akash is a sister organization of Byju's only. So I was in Akash plus Byju's. So my result was 9.8 CGPA, and at the time of result, at the time when the result was declared, we were in our class. I can remember it was our botany class. Botany, the branch of biology in which we study about plants. Zoology, the branch of biology in which we study about animals. We'll be dividing that biology in zoology and botany in class 11, 12. Okay. So I was having my botany class. So my father called me. Okay, that he was very happy as my marks was highest in his office colleagues. I mean, children. So I got the highest marks, 9.8 CGPA out of 10. So he was quite happy. That time I understood one more thing. The more we are competing among ourselves, na, like, okay, I need to have more marks than my friend, or that boy or that girl. Our parents are even more competent. They are like, no, my child should be even the topmost in the world, like this. So he was much more happy, even happier than me, that okay, my child who got the highest marks in my office. Even my marks was also highest in my colony. So my parents were very happy. So they just called me in between my class. Actually, this is something which is very special, 10th result. But I was in class and I was in a habit, like, okay, no phone call. Even if it was from my parents only, if there is one or two call, I'll be cutting it out. And if there are frequent calls, it means that there is something emergency, I need to take it up. Then only I used to take any calls during my classes. Otherwise, in breaks or in gaps, I used to call them back. So they called me. My father called me from his office only. I rejected the call. Then he sent a message to me. My father is not that much educated. I mean, not only about my father. Actually, in today's scenario, maybe your parent generation is something who understands the difference between CGPA and percentage. To my father, 9.8 CGPA was equivalent to 98%, and that made him more happier. That okay, my child got 98%. Maybe you are knowing like 9.8 CGPA and 98% are two different things. So he sent that, okay, you got 98%. Very happy. I was also happy. I mean, okay, 10 is the highest and I got 9.8. I was also happy. So just in the break was there in the class. I turned left, asked my friend. Actually, all those, the people surrounding me in Akash were from my school only. We all are very close friends. So I turned left and said, okay, how much did you got? He said 10. I said, okay, he is so much intelligent. Let him be. Turn right. Okay, how much you got? He said 10. I was trying to find someone who has got 9.8 or even lower than me, so that I can boast like that. But all around my radius, left, right, even the guy who was sitting in front of me, even at my back, all of them got 10. And believe me, that 9.8, such a great marks, become a poor marks in just 5 minutes. When I asked everyone, and then when I came to know that okay, everyone is having 10, it is always relative. There is nothing called peak. Reaching at this success is nothing. You need to maintain that success. 9.8 is a good marks. Just after 5 minutes, when I heard that all of my friends who I know, whom I used to compete, they have got 10. That 9.8 become worse. Don't leave any stone unturned. Try your best. Okay, try your best. And it's nothing to be, I mean, demotivated. I mean, I was not demotivated, even I was more motivated. Okay, you got only 0. 0.2 marks higher than me. I'll be taking my revenge in 12th boards. And that was the spirit. And I want all of you to be like that. No matter even someone is giving me the first answer for this time, try to be more, I mean, faster in the next poll question. That's it. I want all of you to be the best of your kind, the best that you can achieve. You get that. That's it. It's not like I do not expect average child for whom I expect, like, okay, he's expecting 6 CGPA and I say that okay, no, not 6, you get 10 CGPA. It's totally dishonest. If he says that okay sir, I feel like I can get 6, I would say better try, you can get 8 CGPA. And I know that you are all at this time above 8, above 80% in the boards. You can make it to 95%. And I know that you can. Please be more, motivated toward that. Yeah. Okay. It was all about my story, the childhood days. Not that much. I mean, only 5 years back. Don't feel like, okay, I am something like uncle. No, no. I'm just like a big brother to you. Okay. So this bile neutralizes the acidic chyme in the small intestine. Then, as I said, it makes it makes the medium basic to activate the pancreatic juice. No, just take one more thing from me, Mansi. Motivation is inside you. Maybe in between some of the whole batch, maybe someone may think like, okay, sir is boasting about himself, and maybe someone is getting motivated. So motivation is also always inside you. Someone can get motivated after seeing an ant carrying a heavy weight. Someone may see, okay, ant, just one shot and the ant is vanished. It can happen. It's all depends upon you. Okay. Then it also helps in emulsification of fat. Bile also helps in emulsification. Very important beta. This you can mention in your notes copy also. Bile helps in emulsification of fat. Now, what do you mean by this emulsification? Let me tell you. Emulsification simply means breaking down a larger fat molecule into a smaller fat molecule. It's not like you are digesting fat into fatty acid and glycerol. No, we are just converting a larger molecule into smaller molecules. That's it. Got it? So emulsification of fat, large fat globules are converted into smaller fat molecules, fat droplets. That's it. Fat globule is using bile to be converted into smaller fat droplets. Now, talking about the enzymes of pancreas, so there are three enzymes as we discussed. Trypsin, it helps in conversion of protein into peptide. Then there is amylase. Amylase converts carbohydrate into maltose, and lipase, it converts fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Again, keep a note of this. Very important. Whenever you see these reaction enzymes converting into one form to another, make a note of it. Let me show you two special things in this. This trypsin and amylase are not converting this protein and carbohydrate into their final product. As you know that proteins are finally broken down into amino acid, carbohydrates are finally broken down into maltose. So if there is not conversion in that final form, means that this peptide and maltose are again needed to be converted into their simplest form. Peptides into amino acid and maltose into glucose, isn't it? It's only lipase which is converting fat into fatty acid and glycerol, which is the final product of the digestion. Okay. Now there is one question coming up. The question is like, there are two statements. Bile has significant role in digestion of fat. First statement. It is true or false? Say it. Say it, beta. Bile has significant role in digestion of fat. Is it true or false? Yes, it's true. What about the second one? Bile salts emulsify fat. Again true. Very fine, beta. So the correct answer is C. Yes, yes, yes. Very fine. Very fine, beta. Nice. So there is one poll question coming up, and let me see who among you is giving me the first correct answer. I'll be giving you only 20 seconds. I want you to be the fastest. Okay? Time starts now. Which pancreatic enzyme is effective in digesting protein? A very simple question. Tanis. Tanis got it correct in the minimum time. Three of you are still left, beta. Give it a try. Okay, okay. One more is left. One more is left, beta. Make it faster. Aros, beta, make it fast. Okay, 5 more seconds. Okay, time up. So let me move on to the answer part. The correct answer to this question is this: trypsin. We discussed the pancreatic enzyme, na, digesting protein. So it's trypsin. Pepsin was also digesting protein, but it was in stomach. Memorize it. Pepsin was in stomach. It was not in pancreatic juice, pancreatic enzyme. It is this trypsin. Okay, so now let's get into the digestion in Now let's get into the digestion in small intestine part, chemical digestion. So small intestine also, sir, facing issues from previous class, not able to see. Okay, Arus, do one thing, beta. Try logging in with some other browser and log in using learn.byju's.com and turn on the desktop mode. Use some other browser other than Chrome. Try it. Try it. May it works. Okay, done. So now let's discuss about the digestion in a small intestine. I mean, we discussed like duodenum was also a part of digestion small intestine, but now we'll be mainly concerned by the digestion taking place by enzymes of a small intestine. So it's like this. First, keep it in mind. Make a note of it. Final digestion. Make a note of it. Make a note of it. Final digestion occurs final digestion occurs by this intestinal juice only. You can, it can also be asked like, okay, the process of digestion is completed in, keep it in mind, process of digestion is completed in a small intestine with the help of enzymes from which place? A small intestine only. It releases intestinal juice that completes the steps of digestion, that brings about the final step of digestion. Look over here. Intestinal enzymes are breaking down protein, maltose, and peptide that was being converted by the digestion of that trypsin. It is converted into amino acid, maltose converted into glucose, and fat. The leftover fat at that place is getting converted into fatty acid and glycerol. Got it, beta? Everyone got it till now? Just put your thumbs up so that I can get like, okay, it's done. Got it? Okay. What about others, beta? It's only Mans and Ellie. Okay, yeah, done, beta. Now there is one more poll question coming up. Let's see who is answering me the first this time. So the question is the enzyme that which brings about the final digestion. Okay, it's Mansi first. Very simple. One more left. Two more left. Beta, give it a try. Okay, one more left. Give it a try, beta. Oh, two more left. Okay, I mean two more are left. Okay, one more is left. Beta, give it a try faster. Timer. So the correct answer to this question is intestinal juice, as we discussed. Look over here. The final digestion occurs with the help of intestinal juice. Okay. Now there is one question like, okay, actually this is something information, but I am asking you as a question like, you might have heard like the small intestine of the herbivores are larger while the small intestine of the carnivores are smaller. What is this? Actually,
They have to
her,
digest
Tani said beta.
because they have to digest the cellulose.
Yes, actually, herbivores are mainly dependent on the cellulose part. They are having plant cells as their food. So, if they're having plant cells, it simply means like eating more plant product, means taking in more cellulose, and cellulose requires more time to digest. Yes, Kamal, yes. And that is why they have larger small intestine. While in case of carnivore, as there is very less or no cellulose part, so the small intestine is smaller in those cases. Okay. Now one textbook question, it says like how fats are digested in bodies and where does this process takes place. So fats are digested in a small intestine, and the process are, yes, Kamal. Actually, 100% fat is not getting digested. Little amount of it is left, and that is what we are digesting it by using the enzymes of a small intestine. Okay, yeah. Then so this fat is being digested by first bile. Bile emulsifies this fat. Then there is digestion by the pancreatic juices, pancreatic enzymes, then by the enzymes of a small intestine, and then the fat is finally getting converted into fatty acid and glycerol. And this is how the digestion of fat occurs in our body. Now we are to this doubt board, beta. Anyone having any doubts? Anyone having any doubts, beta? Anyone? No? Others also. This time I can see only 3, 4. No, I want all of you to respond. Respond faster so that I can move on. Okay. And still I can see some of you are left, but okay, it's fine. I can only request you to respond, but if you are not responding, I'm little helpless in this online mode. But yeah, beta, this is for you. Try to be more responsive. Okay. Okay, fine. So now many of you are responding. I mean, okay, so sometimes this emotional attachment works, isn't it? Emotional appeal works. Okay, fine. So first we took in the food in our body, then we digested it. Now it's time to absorb it. And to absorb it, we have a very close association of our blood vessels along with this small intestine part, isn't it? A very close association. So what happens now that the nutrients that we are digesting in our body, in our small intestine, they are getting absorbed into the blood vessels through diffusion. Okay, I guess it's correct time for me to call our master tutor so as to discuss about this digestion part in detail.
Move into the lower part of the small intestine. A sectional view shows numerous hair-like projections on its inner surface. The small intestine is about 22 feet or 7 meters long and about an inch or about 2.5 centimeters in diameter. Based on these measurements, you would expect the surface area of the small intestine to be about 6 square feet or so. But it's actually around 250 square meters or about the size of a tennis court. This is because the walls of these tubes are covered with thousands of small finger-like projection known as villi. They help in increasing the surface area to a great extent, resulting in efficient absorption of nutrients by the small intestine. A closer look at the villus shows blood vessels and lacteal. The useful molecules get absorbed into the blood and the lacteal.
Okay, so now let's revise what we all studied till now. First, like absorption in small intestine is done with the help of this villi. Villi is a finger-like projection that is seen on the inner side of a small intestine. Make a note of it. Finger-like projection found in the inner wall of a small intestine. It increases the surface area. It increases the surface area for absorption. And yeah, if you can notice, it has a channel, a good supply of blood vessel along with this lacteal. Now, what is this lacteal? Lacteal is a part of lymphatic channel. We'll be learning in detail about this lymphatic channel in the coming part of this chapter only. Okay, first we are dealing with digestion. Today, I guess we'll be completing this digestion. Then we'll be moving on to breathing part and then to circulation, in which we'll be dealing about this lymphatic channel. Okay. Now there is one question coming up. Let's see. The question is like we need to choose which of the following statement is not true. Okay. First one, villi secrete enzymes to digest protein, fat, and carbohydrate. True or false? Anyone? Unmute and say it. True or false?
False.
False. Very fine. What
False.
about the second statement? Villi are richly
True.
supplied with blood vessels. True. What about the third? Villi are present in the inner wall of a stomach.
False.
False.
True.
Not on the stomach, beta. You fell in the trap. It is in the small intestine. And
Small intestine.
then the fourth one, villi increases the surface area for greater absorption of digested
True.
food. True. So they are asking not true. So 1 and 3, option B is correct. Okay, done. So let's have one more textbook question. It is like how many small intestine, how is the small intestine digested to absorb digested food? Is designed to absorb digested food. Okay, we have villi are finger-like projections which have a very close association with this blood vessel and lacteal, and they absorb the food from our small intestine directly to the bloodstream, and then through this bloodstream, the digested food particle is released to the whole of the body, transferred to the whole of the body. Okay, now let's talk about one more thing called uh, assimilation part. Okay, we discussed about the digestion, we discussed about the okay, so we discussed about the digestion part, then we discussed about this absorption part. Now it's time for us to talk about what happens after absorbing. So the thing that happens we call as assimilation. Now what is this assimilation? Assimilation is using of that absorbed part either to repair old tissue or to build a new tissue or to produce energy. Got it? We are using that absorbed food to have these three things. Okay. Okay, one more question. The question is like assimilation is the process of transfer of soluble food from the dash to the rest of the body via dash. 10 seconds, beta. Use the chat box. A.
Option.
Yes, very fine, beta. A. The correct answer is A.
Option A.
Absorption from the small intestine and then move it or transfer it to the rest part of the body through blood vessels. Okay. Okay, beta. So I guess everything is clear. But if you have any doubt, you can ask. Anything that you need to discuss? Anything? No? Okay, so now let's move on to the large intestine part. What do you think? Does large intestine is larger than the small intestine? Yes. No. It's not true. The small intestine is larger than the large intestine. Okay, okay. I guess again it's time for me to call our master tutor so as to talk about the absorption part in large intestine.
Absorbed waste particles and further. These molecules further pass through the small intestine and finally reach the ascending colon of the large intestine. From here, it passes through the transverse colon to the descending colon. Most of the water molecules are absorbed by the walls of the colon and the rectum, from where the waste substances are excreted out.
Yes. So let's revise. So large intestine absorption of water and the electrolytes. Electrolytes are the ions like Na plus, Cl minus, okay, K plus. These all ions. Then producing and absorbing vitamin, and then formation and temporary storage in this rectum part, isn't it? The temporary storage of fecal matter. Okay. So now again there is one poll question. I'll be giving you 30 seconds for this. Your time starts now. In which part of large intestine does maximum absorption of water molecule occur? Little tricky. It's Tanis who got correct. Oh, it's Tanis only. Adyan got it correct in the minimum time, but for the very first time he marked maybe by mistake the wrong one. And so it is Tanis who is first giving me the correct answer. Okay, done. As all of you did it, let me move on to the answer part. I can see exactly 50-50. So the correct answer is colon. You can make a note of it. This is something which is you need to keep it in mind. Like the maximum absorption of water occurs in large intestine. That is true. But if they ask specifically which part of large intestine, then you call it as colon. Okay, the colon part. Okay, beta. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Now it's time to talk about the digestion part. First, we discussed about ingestion, digestion, assimilation, then absorption. Now it's time for us to talk about digestion. So digestion, as we know, the process through which the undigested food particle is eliminated out of the body. I guess you might remember that sphincter, isn't it? The pyloric sphincter that we studied today, the esophageal sphincter that we studied in the last class, Here is again one more kind of sphincter called anal sphincter. This anal sphincter actually controls the passage, exit of waste material through our body. And you know that it is through our anus. And there is the location. Let me write over here. And there is the location of anal sphincter. Okay. Now again one question. With the undigested part, undigested food passed out through opening J as fecus in the process known as K. But a Kamal, uh, option B. Okay, yes. Kamal, there are many sphincters. It's not like that we can discuss about the correct number at your level. Only you are knowing 3 of them till now. As we will be moving on, we'll be learning some more sphincters as well. Not a sphincter, actually the guards which prevents the backflow. In heart, you'll be talking about the valves. So there are many, but yeah, it depends on the level. Okay, very fine, beta. I can see all of you got it correct. It's B. It's B only. Okay. Now we are to this doubt board. So anyone having any doubts? Anything that you need to discuss again? Beta, this we are to the end. If you have, you can ask.
No doubt.
No doubt. Done. 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 So one more question. The question is, which of the following statement is correct? Let me solve this. Let me solve this. So first statement: a small intestine is the site for complete digestion of food. True.
True. True.
What is the exit of undigested food from the body is controlled by pyloric? No, not pyloric. It is anal sphincter.
False.
Anal sphincter. So false. Herbivore eating grass need a larger, smaller. True.
True.
Fourth one,
True.
absorption of digested part takes place in the large intestine with the help of no. It's not large intestine in the small intestine. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's only A and C that is correct. Fine, fine, fine. So now let me revise what we learned today. First, we discussed about the digestion in small intestine, in which we discussed the emulsification of fat part with the help of bile. Then we discussed the different enzymes like protein with the help of trypsin getting converted into peptide. Amylase acts on carbohydrate to convert it into maltose, not the final product of digestion. They are still needed to be digested. Then lipase acts upon the fat to convert it into fatty acid and glycerol. But yes, some of the fats are still left, which are digested in the next part of digestion. So intestinal juice again contains the different enzymes to complete the digestion of food. In the small intestine, everything is getting digested, and after that they are getting absorbed from the small intestine with the help of villi. Then we talked about assimilation, making use of that absorbed food, in which we discussed like energy production, repairing of old tissue, and building new tissues in the body. After that, we discussed about the functions of large intestine: absorption of water and electrolyte, production and absorption of vitamins, and then we also discussed about the temporary storage of temporary storage of fecal matter. Okay. And at last, we talked about this egestion part, in which we discussed that removal of undigested food occurs through this step, and it is controlled by anal sphincter. Okay, beta. So now again, the last chance. Anything that you need to discuss? Anything that you need to discuss, beta? If there is anything, please ask it. No? Okay. So if there is nothing else, let me again paste the link of that masterclass Excel session that we'll be having on the 7th of May at 2 p.m. on the coming Saturday. So please attend live along with your parents, your friends. And yeah, now it's time for me to wind up the session. It's me, Atul Kumar, waving you all bye bye. And one more thing, come back and practice more questions in the learning app. Okay. And yeah, for the next class, keep everything in your mind. Revise just before the class, the session which we are going to discuss. Okay. Bye, beta. You're so nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.